It's a Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton, welcoming y'all into Murphy Center for the second day of the girls' high school state basketball tournaments. I just mangled that, didn't I? Girls basketball state tournaments.
That's close enough. People know where we're at.
It's basketball, it's girls, it's obviously high school. And it's a state tournament.
It's March. It's Murfreesboro. They know where we're at, Mo. They know where to find us on the airwaves, and they know where we're at geographically as well.
Yeah, and if you want to narrow it down even further, we can't get a shot, but we are right up under the state flag in Murphy Center. We have kind of used that as our landmark, trying to direct people to our broadcast spot. So, yeah, it's a nice little view here right on the corner opposite the benches, and there's not a bad view in Murphy Center.
No, this is one of, and we talked about it a little bit on the show yesterday. Not a bad seat in the house, like you mentioned. This is such an iconic venue for a variety of reasons, and you'll get to hear some of those reasons on our interview with Chris Massaro from yesterday as part of Throwback Thursday. But an iconic venue for entertainment. And when I think of Murphy Center, this is one of the main things I think about, Mo, is the state championship for boys and girls basketball.
It's one of the first things I think about. I was fortunate enough as a student over here to be able to work stats crew for a number of boys and, number of girls state tournaments, because at that time, boys was being held in at Vanderbilt before it came back here.
Okay, yep.
But, yeah, I worked stats crew for a number of girls basketball state tournaments. I also worked stage crew for a number of those entertainment events that you refer to. Tina Turner, Stevie Wonder.
Man,
yeah.
We were going down the list with Massaro yesterday, and our Pulaski Citizen publisher, Scott Stewart, he chimed in and said, hey, I've been to a few of those. He had Eddie Murphy, which we had fun with.
I saw Eddie Murphy here.
Call it Eddie Murphy Takes Over the Murphy Center, I guess, back in the day, right?
I guess it was the Eddie Murphy Center for one night.
Yeah, for one night, indeed it was. That is extremely cool. And like you said, it's all part of the allure of coming to Murfreesboro for such an event like this that you can pretty much set your watch by. If it's March, big basketball is being played. We got a great game going down right now as we're still in the midst of our 2A girls quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. We got one more to go after this, and then that field will be set for the semis. And then still coming up a little bit later tonight, we got the 3A matchups as basketball rolls on here at MTSU.
No doubt. And, you know, you mentioned this game that we got going on right now. Gatlinburg-Pittman is up on Smith County, 52-46, coming down on the final 30 seconds. And Smith County has kind of teetered between getting blown out of this thing and getting back into this thing. Right now it's a 6-point game. They've had some opportunities to really cut into it and haven't, but looks like we're going to get a heck of a finish right here.
Been some great games, been some fantastic finishes. Saw wall-to-wall action yesterday with the 4A and then leading right into the 1A. 2A has been fantastic, and it's all part of our Thursday edition of this program, which is going to be a fun one, Mo. We've got a couple of great guests, and as we always like to tell everybody, you really never know who's going to stop by on this thing because everybody is here seemingly in Murfreesboro.
You know, when we are live and out on location like this, yes, it's you know, we got folks walking behind us. We might actually grab one of them. Who knows? But yeah, we are scheduled to visit in the second hour with Middle Tennessee State men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt on Coach's Corner. And I'm sure Nick's in a pretty good mood coming off of that big win Tuesday night before this tournament got started against Liberty coming in here. So, you know, the Blue Raiders have kind of been rolling here of late, you know, sans a loss over the weekend. So looking forward to speaking with him as Gatlinburg-Pittman wraps up their 54-46 win over Smith County here in the 2A quarterfinals. In the next hour, we are going to visit with Nashville Cats receivers coach C.J. Johnson, former Glencliff standout, former Tennessee State standout, actually played for the Cats late in their initial iteration, I believe. So looking forward to getting with him. And also in that second hour, it's Thursday. And so as we have for the past few Thursday shows, we're going to be visiting with Jerry Palm of CBS Sports, talking a little bracketology as we head into the final weekend of the men's college basketball regular season. See just how cemented Tennessee is on that one line now. So looking forward to that discussion. It's Throwback Thursday. We like to throw it back on Thursday to one of our favorite previous segments, and we are going to bring you our visit from last week with Sirius XM college football host Chris Childers. And apparently we are also going to kind of splice in some response to some of Chris Childers' comments indirectly from MTSU AD Chris Massaro. You referenced y'all visited with him yesterday, and I guess you all kind of mixed in some of the Childers conversation into your conversation yesterday.
Let's go ahead and just say this. Yao did all the heavy lifting on that. I was sitting closer to Massaro. He could reach out and grab me, so I went ahead and just played it safe. Yao was over on this side of the table.
There was somebody between.
Yeah. So
between Chris and Chris.
Yeah, he had a little bit of space, so he went ahead and asked him about it. But we got some great responses. Obviously, the segment with Chris Childers last week was fantastic. But then Massaro kind of held his own, and he didn't shy away from the question. He really kind of spoke openly about the state of the program, state of the university, and kind of went into their decision. So it'll be a great combo when we put those two together.
Well, we will look forward to that. Again, we'll have that later in this hour, so you can look forward to that as well. I guess we need to go ahead and get this thing started with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right, folks, in girls basketball, yesterday here, there were quite a few games played in Murphy Center, but the one that took hold after we went off the air, Bradley Central. Mo was down courtside covering this game. It was Bradley Central putting up 62. Clarksville scores 30. To the Diamond we go. We did get some softball action and baseball action in yesterday, and it was Green Hill putting up 15 runs in a 15-5 win versus Riverdale. John Overton puts up 10. Hume Fogg just 3. Good win for Overton yesterday. On the baseball side of things, it was University School of Nashville 8, Brentwood Academy 7, Friendship Christian 12, John Overton 0, Grace Christian Franklin 10, Pope John Paul II 3. Nolensville was a 9-1 winner over Smyrna. Riverdale takes it 3-1 versus Clarksville. Soccer matchup last night, big time showdown on the pitch. It was John Overton 1 and Martin Luther King 1 as those two teams played again to a 1-1 draw. Men's college basketball last night. How about the Tennessee Vols? They wrap up the SEC regular season championship with a gritty 66-59 win on the road at South Carolina. In the OVC tournament, Tennessee State knocks off Southern Indiana 78-64. There we go. And Vanderbilt had a lead early. Very early, Mo, but it was a lead nonetheless. But Kentucky comes back and wins it. 93-77 is a final there. Women's college basketball also in the OVC tournament. Tennessee State knocks off Moorhead 58-50. MTSU got a nice win last night, 67-52 versus Liberty. And the Memphis Grizzlies got a nice victory on the road up in Philadelphia, 115 over the Sixers, who only had 109. Good win for the Grizz. Good night of basketball, good night of baseball, softball, and soccer action as well here on Main Street Sports today.
Girls basketball action today, as we mentioned, they are both on the floor right now. Loretto and Westview tips off. Well, it's probably not going to tip off at 2:15, but soon thereafter. 2:15 scheduled start. It'll be a
Ish.
little late.
Yeah.
Ish here in the final Class 2A quarterfinal matchup here at Murphy Center. Baseball today across the high school landscape. Middle Tennessee Monarchs are at Mount Juliet Christian. That's a 4 o'clock first pitch. At 4:30, Waverly Central is at Columbia Academy. 5 o'clock starts for Houston County at Perry County. McEwen at Santa Fe. Eagleville hosting Summertown. At 5:30, Kirkwood is at Davidson Academy. Also, Riverdale's at Smyrna. Battle of the Woods early. Ravenwood at Brentwood. That's a 5:30 start. At 6, you've got Portland at Clarksville Academy. Also, Hampshire is at Collinwood. Friendship Christian travels to Gallatin. Father Ryan goes to Grace Christian of Franklin. Nolensville is at Overton. Good Pasture travels to Lawson. Siegel hosting Coffee County, and Culleoka goes to Giles County. Oh, hold up. There were a couple of those at 6:30. Nolensville and Overton is at 6:30. Good Pasture and Lawson is at 6:30. Coffee County Siegel and Culleoka Zion Christian are both 6. In softball action this evening, 5 o'clock start for Christian Community at Friendship Christian. Also, Trousdale County at Riverdale at 5:30. At 6, Laverne is at Centennial. And at 6:30, Smyrna hosts Mount Juliet. Boys soccer action today. 4 o'clock start for Lead Academy at Springfield. At 5, you've got Gallatin at Ravenwood. Middle Tennessee Christian goes to White County for a 6 o'clock start. At 7, it's Hillsborough at Brentwood, Overton at Centennial, and Liberty Creek at Harpeth.
In men's college basketball tonight, the MVC Arch Madness getting underway here in just a moment. Valpo will play Belmont. Again, tip-off set for 2:30 there. And OVC tournament action, Tennessee State is at Western Illinois tonight. Tip-off is set for 6:30, and you can see that game on ESPN+. Big one tonight in the A-Sun tourney. 7 p.m. will be the start time between UNA and Austin Peay. That game can also be seen on ESPN+. Women's basketball action tonight. Tennessee State is at Eastern Illinois. That game actually is just underway, or is underway. You can catch the rest of it on ESPN+. Kentucky is at Tennessee in the SEC tournament. Also underway as well. Game still to come in the evening portion of tonight as Belmont is at Bradley at 6 o'clock. Florida will meet Vanderbilt. That tip-off is scheduled for 7:25 on the SEC network. And those are your SEC tournament games as well as your OVC and MVC tournament games. Wrapping up our schedule for tonight, the Sabres are in town. Buffalo comes to Bridgestone Arena as the Preds will try and get back in the win column after a tough overtime loss the other night. Puck drop is set for 7 o'clock. Game can be seen on Valley Sports South. And in the CONCACAF Champions Cup tonight, Inter Miami will travel to Nashville. Kickoff is set for 8 p.m. And if you've got FS2, that's where you can find it as Nashville hosts Inter Miami, or as we like to call
As you like to call it,
Inter Messi.
Now, and it's funny that you say that because you've also said that they were a pretty good team in their own right prior to the addition of arguably the best soccer player ever in the world.
Yes and no. Pretty good, but he's kind of taken them to this new stratosphere, both in terms of talent, but what he's really done, Mo, and this is why we jokingly refer to him as Inter Messi. You might see, just say there's 500 jerseys in the stands tonight of Miami. 494 of them are going to be Messi jerseys. So just think about that when we say that. So that comes your way again at 8 o'clock. Game will be seen on FS2. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your rundown.
Top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the register. Again, Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, sponsor of our top story. And today our top story is the Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Players of the Week for men's and women's basketball, baseball, and softball. We have a full boat of POWs. And we'll start with basketball. Stop me if you've heard this name. UT Martin's Jordan Sears averaged 31 points, 5 boards, 6.5 assists, and a steal as the Skyhawks knocked off Tennessee Tech and Tennessee State last week. Had 20 in the second half. of their win over Tennessee Tech, along with 7 assists and 5 boards. Against TSU, he scored 29 of his 34 points in the last 20 minutes. He likes the second half.
Apparently, wow, just
maybe he just kind of lulls people into a false sense of security by not playing well in the first half. I don't know how that works, but he scored 20 in the second half against Tech, 29 in the second half against TSU. Eventually, you'd like to think that that scouting report is going to get out.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, this guy's going to get going in the second half. Let's slow him down. You would think, right?
One would think, yeah. On the women's side, again, stop me if you've heard this name, Braylon Weichel of Carson Newman. Second week in a row that she is the Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Player of the Week. Scored 45 points, 13 of 26 from behind the arc in her only game. That three-point effort broke Carson Newman's single-game record and tied the South Atlantic Conference record. She is also Carson Newman's single-season three-point record holder with 93. So,
well-deserved yet again.
No doubt. Baseball. Vanderbilt freshman Camden Koziel was named SEC Freshman of the Week, helping the Commodores to an undefeated week in 5 games against Indiana State, Evansville, Louisiana, Houston, and 15th-ranked Texas. Hit .583 on the week, 14 of 24, 11 RBI with 3 doubles and 2 home runs. Went 4 for 5 twice, once against Indiana State, once against Longhorns. Freshman.
4 for 5 twice as a freshman.
Freshman.
Talk about announcing your presence with authority.
No doubt. Belmont right-hander Will Pryor worked a career-high 7 innings, struck out a career-high 11 in a 2-1 10-inning loss to Little Rock. Struck out 5 in his first 3 innings, then had 3 straight 3-up, 3-down innings. Gave up just 3 hits, walked 2 on 84 total pitches. So tough luck. Well, no decision for him. Tough luck loss for Belmont, but Will Pryor is your pitcher of the week. Again, Camden Koziel is your player of the week, the freshman from Vanderbilt. In softball, Carson Newman's Hayden Dye hit .500 with 3 home runs and 7 ribs as the Eagles went 3-1 on the week. Hit 2 home runs in an 8-0 win over Kentucky State. And 3 more. Oh, okay. Had another round tripper against Kentucky State in an 11-2 win. 13 total bases for the weekend.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's not bad. Chattanooga's Taylor Long went 2-0 last week, giving up just 2 hits. Had a 1-hit complete game shutout win over Central Arkansas with 5 walks and 7 strikeouts. And then came in and threw the last 4 1/3 innings against Central Arkansas, picking up the win with just 1 hit, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. So your Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Players of the Week, Jordan Sears and Braylon Weichel on the hardwood, Camden Koziel and Will Pryor from baseball, Hayden Dye and Taylor Long from softball. Those are our Players of the Week. Congratulations to all of them. And we now welcome in a surprise visitor.
That's how this thing goes, partner.
We told you, you never know who you might come across when you're watching Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We are now joined by Coosa women's basketball regular season champion, Coach Rick Insell. Coach, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking some time with us.
I'm getting so old, I'm going to have to take the elevator up there. You know,
I'm surprised you don't. Why would you not?
Well, I'm still trying to prove to myself, I guess I'm younger than I really am.
I understand. Well, I appreciate you making the trek up here. You know, I know that you always don't just make an appearance at this, but stick around here as much and as long as you are able. Obviously, you made a few appearances on the sidelines for this event, and I know it means a lot to you.
It does. I mean, the girls' state tournament is very special in the state of Tennessee. no matter where it would be at, I'd be there. I'm just very fortunate that I'm a coach at Middle Tennessee, and this is the home kind of girls state championship. And I hope it stays that way forever. But this is really special.
Yeah, it is. And it's just kind of become the mecca of girls basketball. And it's funny, Rick, because y'all's camps during the summer and that kind of thing, so many of these teams from across the state and across the Southeast come here and play over the summer. And a lot of them obviously have the goal of ending their season on this floor as well.
Well, we kind of sell that and promote that in the summertime. Come and play on Murphy Center floor and hope that you get back here and you sell the dream to your kids. And that's what I did when I was at Shelbyville. And that's what we try to get everybody in the state. We had, I think last year we ended up with 300 and maybe 80 teams that was in here in 12 days. So now what you do, now let me take that back. We had 140 schools and 380 teams because a lot of those schools brought 2 teams, some brought 3. And when you got that, that's big. I mean, that's big. And then, it's you get to come. And what I'm hoping I can do one day is convince Dr. McPhee and them to, instead of spending money on billboards and things like that all over the South, bring those kids in here and let them stay in a dorm for 3 days and it not cost them anything. They can eat on campus and they get an idea of what campus life is all about and then still get to play basketball, And that way it would cost some of those young ladies in those rural areas that really can't afford and the coaches can't afford to take their teams to team camp. It'd be something in Middle Tennessee State that we could do to help them. And, we're talking, and I think one day we can get that done. And they'd play a commuter schedule, and they would pay commuter rates. And when you play commuter rates, basically you're taking care of the officials, and you're taking care of the insurance, and you're taking care of the supervisions you have to have now. So, you're not making anything, but you're familiarizing your kids, these young ladies all over the state of Tennessee. We have a lot of teams out of Alabama, Kentucky, about Middle Tennessee State University. And I think would get more out of that than you would a billboard.
And the thing about that is, Rick, a lot of those young ladies aren't necessarily going to play college basketball, but a lot of them are going to go to college.
That's right. And see, in that situation, Maurice, they could come in and do a 15-minute seminar on Middle Tennessee State University and give them the literature or whatever they needed. I just think that would be a better way for us to sell what we've got because we're trying to get people on campus anyway. Mm-hmm. And if you've walked this campus, and you have, I know, but God, if you just look at all the new stuff, our concrete management building, our psychology building, our education department, our, the aerospace program, they're now putting it at Shelbyville. I could just go on, our music department. And, a lot of these kids, they would get a chance while they're here to visit those places. And there's tours going on all summer long.
Rick, we had Chris Massaro on this program yesterday, and we kind of
God bless you.
Yeah, exactly. we got through it, right? But we kind of raved about how it was unique this year in the sense we had the men's game on Tuesday night. Obviously, we got the state championship, and then you guys are going to have a fun day on Saturday. Tell us a little bit more about the basketball bonanza that's going to be going on with the Blue Raiders and then the state championship games themselves.
It's the last game of the year for us, and La Tech, it was scheduled to be here, and then we found out, of course, early in the fall that the state tournament's the same time. So La Tech said, well, let's just switch. We'll come to y'all first, and you come to us late. I said, no, we're not doing that. I mean, that means we got to travel the Saturday before we play in the tournament. I said, no, we're going to play here. And the TSSAA and us have always worked together, and they didn't have one problem, and we didn't either. Now, La Tech had a lot of problems. They didn't want to play at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to my kids when they just want to play. We'd play at the rec center if they let us. But anyway, they're coming in, and I got a good friend of mine that's going to back his trailer up here, and he's going to cook biscuits and country ham and sausage and bacon and tenderloin, and you can get a cup of coffee, orange juice, or water, and then go to your seats. I'm going to serve you breakfast. You can go to your seats and eat it, and then you get to watch the ball game. And La Tech right now is the hottest team in the conference besides us.
I may come just for breakfast, Wade.
Yeah,
Rick
you got my
Insel-
attention, Coach.
You ate with us last week. I
did.
Tell
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Rick Insel, the women's basketball coach at Middle Tennessee State, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. We're coming up on a break. On the other side of this break, we've got Jerry Palm, bracketologist from CBS Sports. But tomorrow we will have women's bracketologist Connor Grove from CBS Sports, and we're going to see what he has to say about Rick's Ladies Raiders. Rick, do you have you got anything you want to pass along to Connor for tomorrow?
I think we've probably done everything possible to put ourselves into the tournament. I think we've got an at-large bid right now, unless we spit the bid out. That's a shelvable term.
Yep.
And, if we do that, we don't deserve it. We possibly, if we lost a game and won the tournament, we would, and maybe got beat in the finals, possibly would be, but you don't want to take that chance.
Yeah.
I think we go into the tournament undefeated. Well, with 4 losses, where we're at now, we're 25-4, I think. And we go in the tournament and win 2 or 3 games. We win 3 games, that would put us in. But if we won 2 games or 1 game got upset, I think we still got a shot. We've done what we needed to do. We played a tough schedule. You don't get in the 30s in the net ranking with a school like us. And I hate to say this, and I said this last night to the people that was on ESPN calling the game for Liberty. Everybody, if you'll talk to nearly every women's coach out there, they'll tell you, we want to grow the game. We want to grow the game.
Mm-hmm.
We want to do what we got to do. Now, our game is growing by leaps and bounds right now.
Right.
The WNBA is packing it. Colleges are packing it. But you take – and I'm not pointing a finger at Vanderbilt, but let's talk about this minute. We got a 39 net ranking. Vanderbilt's got a 60, and we're 22 minutes or 22 miles away from each other, and we don't play. That's not growing the game, guys. Yet they'll go play UT Martin. They'll go play Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
They'll go play somebody that you drive 700 miles or fly 700 miles, but they don't want – and then we're sitting right here begging for games.
Yeah.
If I was at Vanderbilt, and I'm not, I'd be playing Middle Tennessee if they got a net ranking in the 30s every time that I got a chance. I'd also be playing the Connecticut's and those people because you're a Power 5 school. You got money, So, and I'm not pointing a finger at them. I'm just saying that. It took us forever to get Tennessee on the schedule. Well, what happened? We won. Well, now, and I love Kelly. She played for me, and her husband, I love him too. But now they're saying next year, well, we don't know if we can find somewhere on the schedule. And we got to go there.
Funny how that happened.
Yeah.
Now, I know you got to go, but I got bought out of an Alabama contract. They paid us $25,000 not to come to Tuscaloosa. I got bought out of an Ole Miss contract. They paid us $25,000 not to come to Oxford. And there's one more out there that we've been bought out of. And we've raised that up now to $50,000. If you're going to cancel, we got to go to those places. And they're saying, we don't want you here. And what it is, it ain't necessarily they don't want us there. They're afraid that they're going to lose a game in their non-conference schedule. But yet they can go into the SEC, and then they start saying, well, we know, like last night, Arizona was saying, we ought to be in. They've lost 15, 16 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the same tournament we was in the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just feel like that we as a group need to promote our game. And when we say promote it and grow the game, we need to try to do that. And I'm about to get out of this game. So I hope the one's coming along behind me. Pat Summit, let's go to her. Played everybody.
Anytime, any
Played
place.
everybody.
Yep.
I mean, played Stanford, played Texas, played Connecticut. That was her non-conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't win them all. But she won, 8 or 9 national championships. So she was showing people, this is how you do it. And why the new ones coming up don't look at Pat the way she did it. That's the way you grow the game, the way she did it.
Rick Insel.
Can't argue with that.
No, you can never argue with Rick, and even if you try, you're going to lose. But anyway, Rick Insel, the women's basketball coach at Middle Tennessee State, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, CBS Sports bracketologist Jerry Palm joins us. Stay with us.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. The city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
The Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today. Yeah, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We are here in the Lee Company studio on the track at Murphy Center at the TSSAA Girls Basketball State Tournament. And never a dull moment when you get Rick Insel on camera, on the mic. Love it when we were able to visit with him, but we're going to have to reconfigure some things later in the show as a result. So Jerry Palm is joining us a little later than his appointed time. We appreciate his flexibility. CBSSports.com bracketologist Jerry Palm joining us as we head into the final weekend of the regular season. Jerry, good afternoon, man. Appreciate it.
Good afternoon. That coach, I missed his name, Middle Tennessee coach. He's pretty passionate, and you got to appreciate that.
He's highly passionate, and that's all the time. He's at 10 always, Jerry, and we love it whenever we're able to get him on. But what do you see out there again as we head into this final week of regular season play? And well, for some folks, I guess it's conference play for others already.
Yeah, right. It's well, recently have Tennessee up to number 1 seed overall. And we may have talked about this last week, but not overall number 1, fourth number one overall, number 1 seed. And the thing for Tennessee is that means getting shipped out west, which it makes it kind of a mixed blessing because some coaches would rather be a 2 playing closer to home than a 1 sent far away. But that's they've really played well down the stretch of this season, picked up 3 quality wins, not just quad 1 wins, because not all quad 1 wins are the same, but 3 really good wins here down the stretch of the season. Got 1 more on the schedule with Kentucky and then the SEC tournament. And you'd have to say that Tennessee is in a good spot in terms of trying to secure that 4th number 1.
Yeah, with Tennessee also wrapping up the SEC regular season last night. What would it take for Tennessee to potentially climb a little more? And then do they have any leeway if they were to maybe make it to the championship game and lose? Does a loss at any point drop them out? And if they keep winning, how high could they maybe go?
Well, okay, they're as high as they can get right now. Number 4
Okay.
overall is as high as they can get. Purdue, UConn, Houston, 1, 2, 3. There's a huge gap between those 3 teams and whoever's number 4. And there's no catching them. So they're as high as they can get right now. They still have a regular season game left, home with Kentucky before the conference tournament. So, yes, they could fall out of that spot. It is competitive. Arizona's part. North Carolina's in there competing for that spot. So they're going to have to continue to do well, but they have an advantage. It's an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is the schedule gives them a chance to extend their lead over the other 2 teams because they're getting these good games here at the end of the season. The disadvantage to that is you might get beat because these are good teams. Arizona's in the Pac-12, and I'm not even sure Washington State is a quad 1 win. At home, it's not. It might be on a neutral floor, but that's their second best team in the league. So how does Arizona, resume build in an attempt to catch Tennessee? It's a little better for Carolina, who's got Duke this weekend and then possibly again in the conference tournament. So they could at least get a couple of high quad 1 wins over Duke if they play them twice. And then there's Clemson's in that league. And there's a couple of other teams where you could get, better wins, but it's hard to compete with the top of the SEC. And that's why Tennessee is in the best position. They have the best resume now, which is why I've got them as number 4, but they have also the best chance of securing that spot by getting more good wins down the stretch of this season.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Jerry, you said that those top 3 number 1s, Houston, UConn, Purdue, they're pretty much untouchable. They're there. Is Tennessee locked in as no worse than a number 2?
Yeah, they're not. Because if they lose to Kentucky and they lose their first game in the conference tournament, which would be an 8-9 game winner, they're still going to be no worse than a 2 seed. So yeah, that's I don't know how they end up worse than a 2.
Chris and I, we've spoken to you previously. We've talked about battered ball syndrome, and it's a real thing. And even at number 2 or God forbid a number 1, I'm sure that there are still Vol fans that are on pins and needles about the draw and that kind of thing, because as you know, Jerry, it's not necessarily about your seed as much as it is about matchups once you get into this NCAA bracket. And I'm sure that there's some concern about who they're going to see and that kind of thing. And being a 1 doesn't necessarily ensure you of, it doesn't make you bulletproof.
No, it doesn't. Well, nobody is really. I mean, we don't have an undefeated team out there this year. Everybody's had their moments where it hasn't gone well for them. So, nobody's really as dominant as those top 3 teams have been. They've been had. There are ways to beat those teams. So, and Tennessee is, they've got the same thing. There are ways to beat Tennessee. So it is about matchups, and it's about how you perform on any given day as well. Because sometimes the shots just aren't falling. You get good looks and they're just not going, and that or you turn the ball over or whatever. Stuff happens, foul trouble. You never really know, but you just you play the bracket that's in front of you, and you play the team that's in front of you, and whatever that is, that's what you got to deal with.
Jerry, we've kind of talked a little bit about Tennessee being pretty lock solid, whether it's a 1 or whether it's a 2. But as you kind of glance through the tournament as a whole, who's maybe the most volatile team, a team that could really skyrocket up the seed line in the next couple of weeks, or who's a team, the one loss could maybe drop them entirely out of the conversation?
Yeah, well, now you're talking about teams right around the cut line, teams like Utah, Colorado, Seton Hall, like the middle of the Big East. There are 4 teams in the Big East that could play their way in or out. And when you get closer to the bottom of the at-large pool, as you get closer, the gap between the teams gets smaller. So you can move up. You pick up a couple of big wins down there. You can move up from like a 10 to an 8 or maybe even a 7 if you're picking up big enough wins. And you can't really do that at the top of the bracket. It's a lot easier to go from 10 to 7 than it is from 4 to 1. Those teams all have a chance if they have the right teams on their schedule. I mean, we're running out of time to make that kind of a move. You've got 1 game left in the regular season, maybe 2 if you play Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, a weekend game tonight, and then your conference tournament, and that's it. 1 loss and you're done. So there's not a lot of games left to try and make that kind of move. But for the teams that are near the cut line, this is a very important time of the season because it's their last chance to make that statement to the committee that they belong in the tournament.
And looking at your bubble teams, right at the top of that list is Mississippi State, by my count, the only SEC team, at least in that pure bubble spot. What does Mississippi State need to do? How many wins would it take to really make them feel comfy about their chances getting in?
Well, I mean, it starts with South Carolina, which is a team that could help them. They beat Tennessee at home. They beat Auburn at home. Now they can get South Carolina at home. But I think really if Mississippi State wants to feel comfortable, they need to beat a tournament quality team in Nashville. It is Nashville, right? Mm-hmm. The conference tournament. Beat a tournament quality team there. So you show the committee you can do that off your home floor. But in the meantime, you've got a home game. So go ahead and win the home game. But then really take your shot in the conference tournament to get one of those. Because there's a lot of good teams in the SEC, a lot of teams that you can play that would help a Mississippi State try and show that they can beat quality competition off their home floor.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Jerry, we mentioned that this is the final regular season weekend for a lot of teams, but again, a lot of teams are already in their tournaments. Now, most of those are probably one bid conferences anyway, but is there anybody that can create an issue by not winning their conference that maybe is a at-large quality team that you're watching this week?
Yeah, there aren't a lot of them, but there are certainly a few. In fact, my bracket has got 2 bid stealers in it. I've got Richmond because they're the first place team in the A10, and South Florida, the first place team in the American Conference. Neither one of those teams will be at-large teams that they lose in their conference tournament. So I've got Dayton in the field. Dayton's at-large quality. Florida Atlantic is at-large quality in the American. So if those teams win their conference tournament, it actually opens up 2 spots in my bracket for more at-large teams. So, those 2 leagues in particular. I mean, somebody else could make a run from deep in the middle to the bottom of the conference standings in one of the bigger leagues and play their way in. But those are the 2 leagues that are not really major conferences where there's an at-large team in the standings, but not necessarily the top seed in their conference tournament.
Jerry, I'm curious, as we get into these final 2 weekends, I guess next weekend even more so, but just on a personal note, what does your weekend look like when it's these final 2 weekends of the regular season? I mean, are you in front of models and spreadsheets all weekend? Do you have some games on? I know you got the Purdue game probably on, but I'm curious, what does your kind of day-to-day look like on the weekend, the final 2 weeks of the regular season and conference tournament?
Yeah, I'm always in front of a TV screen or a TV camera, one or the other. So yeah, we're watching when I'm at CBS in New York. We've got a green room that's got 12 screens. We're showing 4 or 5 games maybe on those 12 screens, and everybody's watching. And then, the studio is right next door. So when we have to go in, it's just a very short walk to the studio. But when I'm in Connecticut, where I am now for CBS Sports HQ, there's a TVs all over the place. Everywhere you look, there's a TV. So, but then it's a little bit more of a walk to find a camera to go in front of. But yeah, and I also have to write and all of that. So it's a very busy week and a half for me. But I don't really feel tired until we're done.
Here's a question: Are you telling us you're always in front of a screen or watching a game? Are you watching Valpo and Belmont while you're also doing this interview right now, Jerry Palm?
I am not, because I really don't focus as well if I'm distracted by a game. However, I will find the Valpo Belmont game because I live 30 minutes from Valpo, so I'd like to watch Valpo. Probably their final game of the season, but I'll probably try and watch.
They're only trailing by 7, so you never say never, I suppose. It's early.
By the way, Valpo has a Jerry Palm on their roster. Jerome Palm, 6'9" forward.
How is he?
He comes off the bench for him. He gives them good minutes. He's a decent player. He's from the Netherlands. We're not at all. There's definitely no relation there. It's funny. We found out about him because one of the Valpo sports information interns, when they played Illinois earlier in the year, he had a drive down the lane for a dunk, and they tagged me instead of him in the highlight, and on purpose tagged me instead of him. Oh, look, Jerry Palm with a dunk, and it's so. Anyways, we had some fun with that, and I got to meet him earlier this year, so it's kind of funny. You don't see a lot of Jerry Palms running around except my dad, so it was fun to meet Jerome. He's a great kid.
Sounds like they need to get a jersey or a care package to you at some point.
Valpo takes good care of me. I can go to any Valpo game I want.
That's awesome. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports bracketologist, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Jerry, we'll see you next Thursday before Selection Sunday. Is that right?
I think so, yeah. Barring something unforeseen.
Barring something unforeseen. Let's stay away from unforeseen. Yeah. Kind of like bid stealers.
My whole life is unforeseen this time of year.
I understand.
I understand that, partner.
Hey, man, we appreciate your time. Enjoy it. We'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Jerry.
Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports today as we come to you from the Lee Company studio here at Murphy Center on the campus of Middle Tennessee State, where it's halftime.
Yeah.
With Loretto leading Westview 28-23. We're going to take a break, and we're going to figure out what we're going to talk about next. So stay tuned.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, alongside Wade Neely, and we've had to kind of shift on the fly a little bit today, and it's not Throwback Thursday, unfortunately.
It started off as a Throwback Thursday.
It was supposed to be Throwback Thursday. I think the way it has worked out has created a little angst, but I think I'd rather have it this way because, again, any time spent with Rick Insel is good time. So we'll take that. But, again, we've had to forego our Throwback Thursday segment with Chris Childers. Hopefully we'll get to that at another time because I'm interested to hear, Chris Massaro's response to some of Chris Childers' comments that we had when we had him on last week. So we will get you caught up on some basketball. Again, it's halftime here at the Murphy Center where Loretto leads Westview out of Martin 28-23 in the final Class 2A quarterfinal. The winner of this game will play Gatlinburg-Pittman, which defeated Smith County in the previous 2A quarterfinal game. At the SEC Women's Tournament down in Greenville, South Carolina, Tennessee leads Kentucky 56-46 in the fourth. Earlier over there, Texas A&M with a 72-56 win over Mississippi State. A&M, the 9 seed, Mississippi State, the 8. Tennessee is the 5 seed, Kentucky is the 12. They won last night. Kentucky did. And hang on, I'm going to tell you who they beat because I don't remember it off the top of my head.
A win's a win's a win, I suppose. That's as the teams are making their way, Mo's navigating our scoreboard here. Teams are making their way back out on the court. Seems like every one of these games this morning has been pretty competitive. And as we've told you guys, Loretto holding a 28-23 win lead, rather, on Westview here at the moment. And horn for the second half. It means we're getting ready to get off and running here.
Getting ready to get it started. Yeah, Kentucky with a 64-50 win over Georgia last night, and Florida defeated Missouri 66-60. So later on in the SEC tournament, you're going to have Vanderbilt, Florida in the nightcap at 7:30 Central Time, preceded by Auburn and Arkansas at 5 o'clock here. Those will be the final two games, again, following A&M's win over Mississippi State, and Tennessee trying to finish off Kentucky here in the fourth period there. So, like you said, Wade, good night of basketball last night, good day of basketball yesterday here at the Murphy Center, starting with Bartlett's 54-42 win over Sevier County in the initial 4A quarterfinal, followed by Cleveland downing Lincoln County. The Lady Falcons making their first state tournament appearance, and unfortunately it was a short-lived one. They were in that game for a while. It was about a 4-point ball game, and Yow were talking afterwards yesterday. You know, that final score, 60-44, is really a little deceiving because that game was kind of closer than it looked.
Yeah, and you guys were here, Shay, before me, and when I walked in, it was early in the fourth quarter, and yeah, it was still a close game. Every possession was kind of dictating the flow of the game, and Lincoln County, yeah, the final score doesn't look so great, but they can keep their heads held high because that was a quality showing in their first ever trip, which kind of blew my mind, really, because they've had some great programs over the years. Obviously, they've had a really tough region and sectional pairing in that time, but kind of blew my mind that was their first ever trip to the Glass House.
It is a little crazy to think about that, but yeah, their first trip, and it ends in a loss, 60-44 to Cleveland. In the third 4A quarterfinal game yesterday, it was Coffee County 48, Dobbins-Bennett 39, and so the Lady Raiders get the prize of playing defending state champion Bradley Central in a semifinal matchup tomorrow. Bradley Central 32-1 following their 62-30 win over previously undefeated Clarksville.
First of all, yeah, 62-30 over an undefeated team. A really good Clarksville team. And Mo, you were down the courtside for that game yesterday. We were watching it from up here, and you could see that Bradley was dominant, obviously. But I guess I'm curious your initial kind of takeaways from both Clarksville, who's got a really good team, but why was Bradley so effective? I mean, are they just that much better than everybody?
I think they are. You know, I saw a tweet from a Chattanooga area journalist on Sunday, I guess, after the pairings were announced, who said Bradley Central may win each of their tournament games by 25-plus points. And I saw that, and I just immediately thought, well, wait a minute, Clarksville's undefeated.
Yeah.
And they beat them by 32.
Yeah, running clock situation.
I mean, they beat them. They beat Clarksville by more points than Clarksville scored.
Oof.
Yeah, they're that good. And if you are anybody else in the state other than Bradley Central, the worst thing is they're all back next year.
Oh my gosh.
I think they lose one senior who comes off the bench.
So they are just loaded.
They are loaded. Kamara Fields, the sophomore post player who finished with a double-double yesterday, 22 points, 14 boards. Sophomore. Tatiana Stovall, who transferred over there from Webb, had 8 points and 7 rebounds yesterday. She's a junior. And the guard, Harmony Ware, she's a junior, I believe. I mean, they're loaded, and they're going to be a handful again next year. They are number 23 in this week's Max Preps national ranking, and they bring your lunch. I mean, Coffee County, and Jason Reuter said after the game yesterday that Bradley and Coffee scrimmage a lot. They meet up in the summers, they scrimmage during the preseason, that kind of thing. So Coffee County knows them about as well as anybody does. But I tell you, I saw Coffee County yesterday in that Dobbins-Bennett game, and I'm just not sure that they have any answers any more than Clarksville did, particularly for Fields and Stovall inside. And what happens, it looks like, is they get you so conscious of those two in the middle that you start sagging down, and then they hit 4 threes yesterday, and Reuter said they didn't shoot it very well. I guess they didn't have to. They didn't shoot it very well in a 32-point win.
Oh, my.
So there's more in the tank for Bradley Central.
They are extremely, extremely impressive, and again, that will be potentially, it sounds like their tournament to lose, so we will keep tabs on them. One of the cool things that I thought really yesterday that we saw, Mo, was the second that undefeated Clarksville and Bradley Central, as strong as they are off the court. We flip immediately to 1A basketball, which is not to say that the quality of play is not that great, but if nothing else, the size of the crowds was certainly a
little different,
a little disparaging. And so I found that it was very cool because immediately we got into North Green and Greenfield. Greenfield hangs on for a 55-49 win. And then that kind of kicked off the 1A section. But I kind of love when they do that. You see it in football sometimes. I love when you go from the big class to the small class or vice versa. It's just fun to have that kind of juxtaposition in my mind.
Yeah, it is interesting. Greenfield, like you said, with a 55-49 win in the opening 1A quarterfinal game. Moore County survives Clay County 58-55. Pickett County with a 54-31 win over Cloudland. And in the nightcap, Wayne County down South Fulton 61-40. And then we swing into 2A play this morning, opening with a York Institute 66-63 win over McMinn Central. Gibson County 58, Huntington 49. You just gotten used to the Lady Pioneers coming up here and having success, particularly early in this tournament. And then, as we mentioned, Gatlinburg-Pittman with a 54-46 win over Smith County in the game before this one, where Westview has narrowed the gap and has the ball trailing 31-29 with 3.5 minutes left in the third quarter here. So they've got a shot to tie or take the lead, and they just tied it.
Tied up at 31. Hey, real quick, Mo, before we get out of here, not the only postseason basketball. We've talked to Jerry Palm. We've talked to Rick Insel about the big dogs, as it were, NCAA Division I schools. But a quick shout-out to NAI men's basketball program, UT Southern. They've had a fantastic season, winning the Southern States Athletic Conference regular season championship, fell in the conference tournament. But win or lose in the conference tournament, they were already assured of a national tournament bid. They're going to have a watch party tonight on campus at 6 o'clock. The Firehawks will find out where they're going. Not all 32 teams going to Kansas City anymore. They're going to go to regional sites. UTS will be on the road. We do know that. But it's always still kind of fun when you get that selection party vibe. And so UTS will find that out at 6 o'clock tonight.
So we'll be looking forward to that. We will bring you their path to the postseason tomorrow here on Main Street Sports Today. And when we come back from this break, we will bring you Nashville Cats wide receivers coach C.J. Johnson. Getting excited about a little arena ball here when we come back to the Lee Company studio. Stay with us.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Welcome back to the Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Maurice Patton, Wade Neely joining you from the Murphy Center, the Glass House here on the campus of Middle Tennessee State University, watching a little girls high school basketball tournament action here as Westview has forged a 38-35 lead against Loretto here inside the final 20 seconds of the third quarter. And just like that, it's tied.
Back and forth. This is going to be a nail biter of a fourth quarter coming up.
Yep, this one's going to be a good one going down the stretch. We're going to talk a different indoor sport here in this segment as we are joined by Nashville Cats receivers coach C.J. Johnson, the new Nashville Cats arena ball team will be starting up action next month, and Coach Johnson joining us now. Coach, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hey, glad you all having me.
Hey, no, thank you for joining us, man. Now, is that a Tennessee Valley Vipers jersey in the background?
Yeah, it is. It is. Yep.
We like backgrounds, man, and we get a kick out of that stuff. So, take me through your arena ball background and what landed you in this position that you are stepping into, I guess, here in the last month or so.
Mo, if you don't mind me calling you that.
Not at all.
First and foremost, man, I have to first give God the thanks for even putting me in this position. Being a local kid, graduating from Glencliff High School, going on to play at Tennessee State, then going on to play arena ball. It was it really was a blessing because I had been praying towards the end of 23 for a more of a role within the football realm, and then just out of the blue, man, God was like, "You asked for it, here it goes." So Coach Dean Coquinos, he hit me up. He was like, "Hey, I'm interviewing for the Cats job." He said, "If I get it, would you like to join me?" And I couldn't believe it because, like I said, it just came out of the blue. But that's how blessings work. And I'm just glad to be in this position.
How are things looking right now? I know you guys are going through workouts. You're kind of signing folks, different stuff like that, and I guess it's got to be pretty exciting getting ready to get this team back on the field. And what's it looking like you're going to be working with?
As of right now, it looks like we got a good group of guys. I haven't met all of them yet. Camp doesn't get started until April. So, we'll really have an idea of what we have. But from the guys that I have met, I'm really excited. We had a tryout on the 24th of February, which it was a great experience. It was my first time really dealing with an atmosphere like that. But I was real pleased at how it turned out. And, I'm just excited for the season to get started. And I hope, the city supports it like they did back in 06, 07 in those years.
Yeah, and CJ, since you mentioned Nashville, what's it like, obviously, being so familiar with Nashville, playing there for so long at the high school and then the college level, and obviously even a stint in the Arena League itself? What's it mean to not just be back in the sport, but be back in the sport in the Music City?
Man, it's amazing. I really can't downplay that. You know, with the current growth of the city, you know, it's amazing to see that, and then to see, you know, how many pro teams are here and thriving. You know, and now I hope that the Nashville Cats, you know, finds their little niche to where we can get back and find its place within the community and get that support. Like I said, you know, like we did in the past.
As we got a big 3-pointer here inside the Murphy Center, and CJ, what's one or two things for folks that are maybe going to be new to arena ball? You know, we're obviously excited about the Cats, and we've been fans over the years, but what are one or two things that you would maybe tell, whether it's a fan or just somebody even interested in the sport, to expect out of the Arena League and particularly out of the Nashville Cats in this new iteration?
Well, you know, what's wild is coming out of college, I had never even watched or been to an arena football game. But when you go to an arena game, it's a whole different experience. You know, it's fast. It can be very loud at times. I mean, guys flipping over walls, and you know, I mean, it's an experience that, you know, I feel like, especially young kids, you know, I feel like that's something that they should really get to experience and be able to embrace that, and just the interaction with the players, you know, during the game. I mean, you can shake a kid's hand right before you go out to run a route. You know what I'm saying? So it's an amazing atmosphere, a lot of scoring, just something that I think everyone should experience at least once.
Absolutely, and I've always kind of heard it's a kind of a rock party or a rock concert with a football game kind of mixed in on the side.
Indeed.
I'm curious on your end, though, what changes or adjustments do you have to make as a coach going from traditional football to arena football? What does that difference look like?
Well, you just have to understand that things are going to happen a little quicker because the width of the field is only 28 yards. The regular size field or NFL field is like 52, 53. So, you know, you don't have as much space and it's not as long either. So you just have to understand spacing, and you have to understand that things are going to happen a little quicker. So, you know, those are some of the major key points that you like to get across to the guys, especially first-time players.
Yeah.
And obviously that the biggest adjustment probably there is for receivers. Is that fair to say?
Well, actually, it's three receivers. The tight end is technically a lineman, and the fullback is technically a glorified lineman as well, because I mean he has to step up and block too. So it's really only three receivers, but you get to do the motion, to gain that momentum. Honestly, the hardest part to me was returning, because when they kick the ball off the net, you have to turn your back to everybody coming downfield and just pray that you catch the ball clean, So, that's the biggest adjustment to me.
Excited, I can tell. And understandably so. The way this franchise was received the first time around, trying to replicate that, I guess, is the challenge this time around. But I think the Cats have enough of a cachet in the community, and enough people remember them from the first time around that you guys have got something to kind of build off of.
Yeah, and when I put the post on Facebook that I was going to be the receivers coach, man, the support that I received was overwhelming. It just made me feel blessed to even be in this position. And it goes to show that, especially when a homegrown kid is on the staff, you know, that people are going to come out and support, you know. Having guys like Jeff Fisher as the team president, Eli Gold as the, you know, the voice for the Cats. You know, I mean, I'm an Alabama fan, so, you know, to hear that, you know, I was like, man, that's wild. Maybe I'll get to meet him or something, you know. But yeah, man, the buzz is there. So, you know, I just hope that the product that we put on the field reflects that, and everything goes well.
One quick thing on that too. Where can this potentially take you as a Metro guy and been around Metro for so long? What can this potentially do for Metro Nashville schools and just kind of showing kids that this is a different avenue and a different path to really kind of maybe even chart a new professional career?
Well, you know, that I'm glad you asked that, because the past few years I've been coaching at McDevitt High School with a couple of my good friends, and you know, just have an opportunity to maybe take some of the players back to the schools and just, you know, get them involved with that, letting guys see that, you know, just because you may not make it to the NFL or anything like that, there are still avenues for you to fulfill your dreams. So even on the coaching aspect, you know, it's I can't say it enough, man. It's a beautiful thing. And again, I'm just blessed to be in this opportunity. And you know, the sky's the limit for myself, you know, for Metro Nashville as a whole, you know, and I hope that, you know, it does nothing but continue to grow and get better.
CJ Johnson, receivers coach of the Nashville Cats, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. The Cats open their season April 27th at Municipal Auditorium against the Minnesota Myth. They will also play at home on May 12th against the Philadelphia Soul, and the following weekend they'll play in Clarksville at F&M Arena against the Georgia Force, and that's an old school rivalry right there, right?
Oh yeah, and you know, I actually played for the Force for a couple years, you know, so that'll be a good thing to see them across the sidelines. But yeah, you know, and taking it up to Clarksville, you know, I mean, that would be, you know, showing growth as well, you know. And like I said, you know, we're just excited, man. You know, Coach Dean, he's excited for the opportunity, and I'm just glad that he thought of me to bring me on the staff.
You mentioned that you played for the Force, CJ, and it reminded me of a viral video that you were a part of playing for the Force. I think you guys were playing against was it Jacksonville?
It
was
Orlando.
It was Orlando.
Yeah,
When you caught a kickoff right up against the net and a fan reached out and grabbed you.
Yeah, it was wild, you know. But in that moment, you know, I really didn't. You really didn't know what was going. I felt somebody grabbing me, you know, but my eyes are locked on the football, you know, because I can't just take my eyes off of that. So I was focused on that. But then when I saw the replay, I was like, man, that was a little worse than what I thought it was. But you know, things like that happen, and it goes back to the point of, you know, the fans are so close to you that, you know, that interaction, it can be great, but at that particular time, you know, it wasn't so great.
CJ Johnson, former Glencliff and Tennessee State standout, new Nashville Cats receivers coach, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. CJ, appreciate your time, man. Congratulations. Welcome back. And be sure and tell Freddie B I said hey when you talk to him again.
You know, I got you, man. And again, I appreciate y'all for having me on. You know, like I said, you know, I hope to see you guys at a couple games. And I just hope that it continues to grow from here.
We look forward to it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ.
Right, thank you.
Wade, he mentioned Eli Gold, the newly named Nashville Cats broadcaster. Apparently, that's not all Eli Gold is doing these days.
It sounds like he You know, a couple weeks ago, it sounded like he was quote unquote retiring. And then within 48 hours, or maybe 24 hours, that was put to rest. He's with the Nashville Cats. But yeah, some more news for Mr. Eli Gold.
Yes, and it's pretty intriguing. Friend of the show, Greg Seitz, athletics director at Jacksonville State, apparently saw Eli Gold had some extra time on his hands.
Yep.
And Eli Gold will now be handling Jacksonville State's baseball telecasts.
So he is
diversifying
his portfolio, his broadcasting chops, and that is not a slouch job either, obviously, for a program that's had some solid success. And so Eli now going to call the Cats and call the Gamecocks games, which will be fantastic to see him kind of continue a legendary career. If he didn't want to go out on his own terms, which it sounded like he didn't after we read the rest of the story,
sure,
it's good to see him do as much as he wants to, because that guy's a legend.
Yep. Apparently, Mike Paris will remain in his position as longtime broadcaster for Jack State, but Eli will be joining him in the radio booth. Well, no, I'm sorry. Mike Paris will handle radio. Eli will be on television.
Okay.
So, and the plan is to take on additional sports and duties for Jacksonville State, including football.
Talk about a get for Jacksonville State then,
yes,
in my opinion.
He will make his broadcast debut on March 19th when Samford travels to Jacksonville taking on the Gamecocks. So this is, he's got a lot going on all of a sudden. It's going to be an interesting spring for Eli.
Yeah, from retired, quote unquote, to a full plate.
Yeah. And good for him. Had been with Alabama for 35 years. And I guess someone made a decision to go in another direction.
Yep.
As they like to say.
And so good news for Jack State. Like I said, that's big, and especially the fact you're going to throw in some football. I mean, you're probably going to get at least a little bit of crossover from just folks that enjoy listening to him call games.
Sure.
I would imagine.
You would think. Yeah. So, all right. Eli, gainfully employed in at least a couple of spots. So good for him.
We will have to go to a Cats game and get the full story from Eli at some point.
We may just have to do that. Yeah. Pull up. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will have a little time before we are joined by MTSU men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt, but we've got some house cleaning that we need to take care of in that interim anyway, so we will do that. We will give our weekly player of the week and team of the week when we come back here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. you see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, continues. Wade Neely there, Maurice Patton here, and right there, Middle Tennessee State men's basketball coach Nick McDevitt joining us here. Coming off of a nice little win Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a good win. Our guys played well. Both sides of the ball, really. I thought we were locked in, particularly on the defensive end, and did a good job of rebounding the ball. We went up there. We had a couple guys on the weather, and we didn't play well. They kind of took it to us when we went up there to Liberty earlier in the season. But we did a good job on that end of the floor and really just took care of the basketball. We ended up with 9 turnovers, and 2 of those coming really in the last minute. We had a 5-second call on an OB that we didn't want to just throw it away, and then we intentionally took a shot clock violation with a big lead. So really just had 7 turnovers for the game, and anytime you take care of the ball that way and defend and rebound, you give yourself a good chance to win.
And as we've talked throughout the season to Chip Walters as our weekly guest on Tuesdays, when we discussed Blue Raider basketball, turnovers was a word that came up a lot and not in a good way.
Yeah, we were, particularly early once Cam West and our starting point guard went down. That's going to kind of drive that number in the wrong direction in and of itself. And then when we had Josh Agundale, our backup center, went down as well, we had to kind of change what we were, but we changed what we were doing offensively. And now all of a sudden were some guys kind of playing out of position from what they are accustomed to, but now they were also running a new offense, and you could tell it. We were stagnant a lot of the times on the offensive end, had high turnovers, had low shooting percentages, and those numbers have started to change in our favor over the last really 6 to 7 weeks.
Feel like you're kind of settling into your new normal.
That's a great way to say it. That's a great way to say it, and our guys feel that. Just feel more comfortable in what we're doing. Haven't had to add a lot of new lately, and so they're kind of settled into what's expected, the substitution pattern, what we're doing defensively. So they're in a good spot, good routine.
And y'all are in a good spot. I mean, you as a coach, you're in a good spot, I guess. Kind of figuring it out.
Yeah, you're having to, the games are going to keep coming. We had some bad luck, and
you don't get to call a timeout in the schedule.
That's right. You can call one in the game, but you don't get to call one on the season. And so our guys did a good job of not hanging their head, kept believing in themselves, each other, what we could do, and just had to dig themselves out of a rut, and that's what we were in. Is we were struggling, particularly on the offensive end of the floor, and now we're in a pretty good flow.
Coach, I've not had a chance to see the Blue Raiders up and close and personal this year, but I see a familiar name on a lot of the box scores and really some eye-popping numbers lately. What makes Justin Porter so special? Because we've seen him kind of take his game, which was already pretty solid, to a new level these last few weeks.
Yeah, he's a guy that really had to play outside of his comfort zone, and honestly still is to some degree. He was playing off the ball as a shooter, as a two guard, and then Cam goes down, and he's the next best option to play point. And so now all of a sudden we shifted him from our starting 2 to starting 1, and over the last several weeks, really month to 2 months, he's just started figuring out how to be aggressive at scoring the ball, but also be a point guard. You know, that's a fine role or a fine line, I should say, to have that role to where we need him to score, but we also, because he's the point, we got to get others involved as well. So his growth and Jared Coleman-Jones, those two have really just taken their game to another level. Jared, I think, has 7 double-doubles on the season. He's almost averaging that in league play. And with those two really elevating what they've done, it's led to our team elevating what we can do.
Yeah, you guys have been climbing. You guys have been playing well. And talking with Chip yesterday, and we mentioned it on this show, he showed me the text of the conference tiebreaker, and
it had to be a long one.
His font, I said it on air yesterday. He doesn't have the old school zoomed in font, and he was still having to scroll and scroll and scroll. I guess in the simplest terms, kind of lay the scene for what's at stake and where the Blue Raiders could end up if things go according to plan this weekend.
Yeah, it's all still up in the air. There are 6 games left, 2 tonight and 4 on Saturday, and it's really all over the place. There's right now in the 2 top teams are La Tech and Sam Houston. They're tied at 11-3, and right now Western Kentucky is behind them at 8-8, 8-7, excuse me, and we are 7-8. So we're right now barely ahead of a whole laundry list of folks, and there could be anywhere from about a 4 or 5 way tie. From anywhere from 4th to 8th or 5th to 9th. There's a lot of tiebreakers. Our conference office will probably have to dig deep into all those tiebreaker scenarios. But as of today, we're sitting in sole possession of 4th. With a win, we can't fall any further than 4th. Depending on how some other games went, we could get as high as 3rd. If everything went against you, I believe we could still fall as low as 8th. We could still be in the 8-9 game because of losing all the tiebreaker scenarios. And so trying to figure out when we're going to head to Huntsville, who we might play. We've been on the phone with the folks at the hotel saying there's no telling when we're coming to town because the 8-9 game is a Tuesday game. The quarterfinals are split into 2 days, half on Wednesday and the other half on Thursday. So our first game in the CUSA tournament could be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday based on where we are right now. And there's only 1 game left to play. So it's pretty jammed up.
Yeah, my mind is blown just listening to that. I didn't even really give Chip much of time of day because the text was so long. He just kept swiping like I was saying. But even listening to you, it sounds crazy. And then as you mentioned, I guess real quickly, what goes into all that as far as logistics is concerned with your Dobo and things of that nature? You guys are having to coordinate a lot of stuff in a short amount of time.
You got it. I was actually just meeting with him about 30 minutes ago looking at practice.
We didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. We were looking at possible places to practice, because of both the men and the women playing their tournament simultaneously in the same arena. You don't have court availability to practice there. So they send out a couple of different high schools, Alabama Huntsville, Alabama A&M are all 2 universities that are there in town as well. So we've been contacting them saying, hey, we're obviously coming to town. Can you hold this time? Can you hold that time? And there's a lot of that going on. And to your point, the hotel called yesterday. Like, when do you guys think you're coming to town? We went over the tiebreaker scenarios in the standing saying, folks, it could be anywhere from Sunday to Tuesday before we show up.
Oh, we don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
Nick McDevitt, men's basketball coach here at Middle Tennessee State, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Loretta pulled out that semifinal Class 2A quarterfinal matchup with Westview. But 53-49, I believe it was, but they did win
game.
it. So they will be in tomorrow's semifinals against Gatlinburg-Pittman. Nick, regardless of when you get to Huntsville, going into your Saturday matchup against Louisiana Tech down in Ruston, you've won 7 of your last 11 now. You getting back to kind of getting the lineup stabilized, the rotation stabilized, that kind of thing. What are your thoughts going into that regular season finale down there?
Yeah, it'll be a tough one for sure. You know, they're at the top of the standings for a reason. They're really good at home. They've only lost 1 home game this year. And the one that they lost, they were without their third leading scorer and their best shooter. And so they haven't lost with all their players out there at home, and it's going to be the last home game of the season. And Isaiah Crawford is a Player of the Year candidate. If he's not that, I know I'm curious to see who's voted that. He's their starting 4-man. He's an inside-out player, 3-level scorer. He's really good. And when you add the size of Daniel Bacho at 6'11", 230, 240 as their center, they've got a formidable pairing at 4 and 5. And then when you could throw some shooters around that, it makes them awfully difficult to defend. Talvin Hester's done a great job with them, their head coach, and they're good. You know, we've got our hands full with them. They're physical around the basket. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the league and the best shot blocking team in the league. So you've really got to be able to play a physical game, and that's not just defensively. You've got to be good at running physical, tough offense. And if you're not, they just kind of keep you out on the perimeter and kind of frustrate you into taking long, early shot clock shots because you're tired of working for quality shots. They're the best shot blocking team in the league, as I mentioned, and it's by a pretty good margin. And so you can't be afraid to play in the post because of that, though, or else you look up and all you're doing is shooting long jumpers. And so you've got to be mentally tough and physically tough anytime you go on the road, but particularly when you're playing a team of that nature.
So you've got to run your offense.
For sure, you do, because if you don't, then they're really loaded up. You know, I mean, the weak side guys are in the paint, and they're going to keep the 6'11" shot blocker towards the rim. Isaiah Crawford, their 6'6" forward that I mentioned, he's also leads the league. He may end up being the Player of the Year, has 62 steals and 50 blocks by himself on the season. And so when you've got that kind of defensive prowess, they're really, really good around the rim and protecting the paint. But you can't be afraid to play in the paint. If you are, then you never get easy twos. And if you're not finding a way to get easy twos and get to the free throw line, then what you'll find is you've shot 43s, and now you're hoping you had a good night shooting.
And if you didn't, it'll be a long night.
It'll be a long night,
yeah.
and that's what they're hoping for. That's what they want to kind of lure you into.
Hey, Coach, one thing I wanted to ask you also, we had Chris Massaro on this show yesterday, and we talked a little bit about the renovations. Obviously, there's construction going on everywhere here on campus, which is exciting to see. But I'm curious if you could maybe add a little men's basketball-centric kind of perspective, because the campus as a whole is growing, but this is a tremendous opportunity for you guys to grow in this program as well.
Oh, there's no question. We're really excited for our football program to be able to move into such a nice facility that that'll be open not before this next season, but the following. For one, they need it. They've earned it. They deserve it. But also right now, they're housed in here.
Yeah,
they're housed in the Murphy Center. So their offices, their locker room, everything is here in the Murphy Center. So once they are out of here, the plan is to renovate those current spaces into basketball-specific areas. So what is now their locker room will become our locker room and coaches' offices. The men's basketball coaches' offices are kind of in all different areas of this building. And so once we're able to kind of be in a singular area or more centrally located, then things are just more efficient in how you operate day to day. We'll be able to renovate what is now our practice facility into a newer, nicer, better working practice facility. So there are a lot of things kind of behind the scenes in the guts of the building, but out here there's also plans to put some suites in and really make this thing right here pop. Obviously, we've added the 2 big new scoreboards, the biggest in Conference USA. Huge addition. There's plans to upgrade the lighting and the sound system. in the off season. The tennis program just opened up a new $7-8 million facility right out front of the Murphy Center. So for athletics and athletic renovations and facilities, it's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. And then also, obviously, we hope you guys are in Huntsville all next week.
That'd be great.
But what does it mean to be able to have a tournament like this and kind of been synonymous with TSSAA right here in your home building?
Oh, the best players in the state, the best teams in the state are playing right here. This is their goal to get to the glass house by the end of the year. I've got the girls this week, the boys next week. It's really a special thing that year in and year out, you come in here, you see a lot of their classmates, the community members are here really supporting. It's special to be able to host them. We know what it means to be able to participate in the big moments, the big tournaments. Yep. Everybody gets excited around March, so completely understand. And as you can hear the crowd in the background as they're taking the floor before this next one. But yeah, it's special this time of year.
Nick McDevitt, men's basketball coach here at Middle Tennessee State University, joining us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Nick, as you've laid it out, you guys have your work cut out for you down in Ruston on Saturday. We wish you luck. Be nice to go into Huntsville whenever you go with a little extra momentum coming out of a win on the road to end the regular season. Good luck.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Hey, Nick McDevitt joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Before we break away, we've got some hardware that we need to give out. Our In to Win Life Team of the Week, sponsored by Custom Stone Handlers. The Independence Eagles boys basketball team won a couple of games last week, both in their region tournament, defeated Franklin 60-51 in the semifinals, defeated Brentwood 65-49 in the region 5-4A championship. They have since also defeated Beach in sectional play to advance to next week's state tournament, but they were 2-0 last week, and they are our Custom Stone Handlers In to Win Life Team of the Week. Our Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia Player of the Week, you've heard this name before. Alden Slaughter, the junior out at Santa Fe, averaged 40.5 points in a pair of Wildcat games last week. Actually scored 44 in the Region 5 1A championship loss to Eagleville. But averaged 40.5 points in a pair of games last week. He's averaging 39 points in the postseason, which is up from his regular season.
That is bonkers.
So, we may need to mention that name to Nick before he gets away here. But at any rate, Alden Slaughter, our TOA Athlete of the Week this week. When we come back, we're going to wrap up some odds and ends here on the Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today. So be sure and join us here in the Lee Company studio at Murphy Center. We'll be right back.
I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros.
Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that Eli's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No. No.
Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's
you got that right, and
that's bottom line.
Be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there.
There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe about a buck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Oh, you had me turned down.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
Well, at least you didn't have me muted like a former producer used to do to me all the time. I'd just be talking away just to nobody. No. Final segment of the Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance.
That was
Columbia.
a throwback.
It was. There was your throwback Thursday right there.
Yeah, that's about as far as we're throwing it back.
Yeah, as we've got Cott County and Heritage on the floor. They are getting ready for the first Class 3A girls basketball tournament quarterfinal here. There will be 3 more after them. You'll have Dyersburg and Jackson Southside, Greenville and Upperman, and South Gibson and Chester County. That game tips at 8:45.
Woo!
I won't be here.
No, I won't be here either. Put a pot of coffee on, though, for that one.
No doubt.
Upperman and Greenville could be a really good game, like you said, at 7:15, though. Got a chance to see Upperman a few weeks ago, and they're a quality girls team. And that was the team that we talked about that let's just say they conveniently, in the grand scheme of things, lost in the consolation game of their district. And how about that? They're the team from the region that gets out, and not White County, who was stunned early in that process
region,
and in the region tournament. So it's Upperman, crazy and unconventional as it was. You can lose 3 times in the postseason format. They lose 2, but they make it to Murfreesboro. They got a really good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run here this week.
Sometimes you got to lose a battle to win a war, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and Dana McWilliams is as good as there is out there. And so, yeah, we will definitely be keeping an eye on the Lady Bees. Buzz.
She was. I will say this. I don't know that I've got a chance to mention it on air. I asked her a little bit about it after the game, and she said, hey, make no mistake about it. We ain't in the business of losing on purpose, and we didn't play our best games, not just of a 1 or 2 week stretch. We didn't play our 2 best games of the entire season, but just so happened they were back-to-back. And you know what? Maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but I believed her. I believe her. And the proof is in the pudding here is they've rebounded nicely, and they'll play tonight at 7:15.
They have indeed rebounded nicely. As we mentioned, Loretto won that final game of the 2A quarterfinal round. It was 54-49, not 53. My bad. Also in tournament play over in Greenville, South Carolina, Tennessee defeated Kentucky 76-62. They move into tomorrow's quarterfinal round. They will take on 4th-seeded Alabama. That'll be a 1:30 tip, and I believe it'll be on the SEC network. So be sure and look out for that tomorrow. There was an article that moved earlier today, among other places, on 24/7 Sports. Apparently, the December signing period has been tweaked for college football recruiting. That 3-day signing period is going to be commencing on the first Wednesday of December, not the third Wednesday as it has the past couple of years. So that's going to be before your conference championship games. And prior to the opening of the winter transfer portal window. The period will be, again, from December 4th to December 6th. So it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the first week of December, which is, I don't know how that works. Because you had so many dismissals, resignations, that kind of thing leading up to the December signing period previously. Is that going to push that clock a little bit earlier as well? You're gonna see more in-season dismissals now?
That was my immediate thought. What does this do for that window right there? Do things kind of get shuffled up? Do we start seeing a little bit more of a trend in that direction? Because that was kind of, at least the way I interpreted things, that was kind of your rationale at that point in time. So kind of an interesting spin on things going forward. It seems like nothing in college football is really in a state of stasis right now. It seems like everything's just constantly in flux.
The only certainty is uncertainty.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's certainly something that's going to bear watching. Now, something that came across our radar, I guess, late last week, and we never really got to it, I don't think. But hashtag SECMD24. The schedule for the 2024 Southeastern Conference Football Media Days, which will be held in Dallas, has been announced. And see if we can get to that real quick, because you'll have 4 teams represented, 4 teams a day for 4 days.
You know, we obviously had we were a little spoiled last year.
We were a lot spoiled.
We were a lot spoiled.
With it being in our backyard, is that what you mean?
Yeah, and it makes total sense. They told us, and it was blown out of the water, as big as Nashville did it, that they were going to do it just as big next year with Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. It kind of is only right, really, that you have it there this year.
Well, you know, everything's bigger in Texas anyway, right?
But it still just caught me a little off guard, because I already, in my little peanut brain, was just kind of just having the spidey senses tingling, like, ooh, it's almost time to start maybe thinking about summer, SEC media days, et cetera, et cetera. And then I was quickly brought back down to earth when I realized, it's in Dallas. So not quite the short, easy, convenient little drive like we had last year.
No, it's not going to be convenient. It's not going to be 3 nights of sleeping in our own beds, you know. July 15th through 18th at the Omni Hotel in downtown Dallas will be the first time that SEC Media Days are held in Texas, and just the 4th time overall that it will take place outside of Birmingham. Now, as you mentioned, it was in Nashville last year. The year before, it was in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So those will be 3 of the 4. I don't know when the other one was. I imagine it was in Atlanta as well, but I don't know off the top of my head when that was necessarily.
And that's how you know it's a big deal, by the way, the fact they have like notes on media days. Yeah, this is the 4th time that it's been held outside of Birmingham. The fact that there's like game notes on SEC media days tells you how big of a deal that it is.
That's a heck of a point. On Monday, speaking will be Brian Kelly of LSU, Lane Kiffin of Ole Miss, South Carolina Shane Beamer, and Vanderbilt's Clark Lee. Those will be your Monday participants. Tuesday, Georgia's Kirby Smart, Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri, Tennessee's Josh Heupel, and making his SEC Media Day debut, Brent Venables of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
That's on day 2. Day 3, Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, Florida with Billy Napier, Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby, and the Sark, Steve Sarkisian from Texas, will be on day 3. And the Media Days event, because obviously it's more than one day, wraps up on Thursday, July 18th with Sam Pittman from Arkansas, Hugh Freeze, not High Freeze as it says here on CBSSports.com, Hugh Freeze from Auburn, Kentucky's Mark Stoops, and Texas A&M's Mike Elko will be stepping to the podium on the final day. Should be exciting, just because by then you're 6 weeks away from.
Yep. You can smell the pigskin at that point. You could almost maybe even have a copy of the new football game downloaded to your PlayStation 5 by that point. You can maybe get close.
I'm sure EA Sports would like to have that drop there. I'm sure it would be a great talking point for all in attendance if that is in fact the case.
You know, as I was, we were going through the schedule there, I'm trying to think back to last year. You would obviously think the old saying, save the best for the last. But as we remember, that last day, by the end, everybody is a zombie, and you're just trying to almost get out of there. Because I was thinking, you probably would have Heupel, new coach Kalen DeBoer, or obviously Sark or Venables be one of your last guys to go. But I think really the way it looks, days 2 and 3 are kind of your highlight days. And then day 1 kind of setting the stage. And then day 4, by then, no offense to those that are going to be obviously there that day, but it's almost like, hey, we're just ready to get out of here.
We're
at this
just ready
point.
to be done.
And you and Chris and I were there last year. I mean, those halls are pretty barren at about noon on Friday.
Yeah, and with that said, it's kind of interesting who you've got on that 4th day. I mean, you've got Texas A&M's new coach, and then you've got Freeze, Pittman, and Stoops. I mean, I don't know if the lineup reflects that 4th day malaise that you speak to, or what people thought would be. Yeah, it's day 4 is a grind anyway. Let's just get some guys in here that maybe people care about, maybe they don't, and be done. I don't know that it's exactly front-loaded, though, either.
No, I mean, you start out with Brian Kelly and Lane Kiffin. Talk about fire and ice. I mean, setting the stage, and then you got Shane Beamer and Clark Lee there. But you start off on a good note on a Monday, and that carries you right in through the rest of the week.
Clearly, I mean, there will be a lot of interest in what Caleb DeBoer has to say.
Yep.
But how much interest will there be in what Billy Napier has to say?
A lesser man would have made a joke when you were going through the lineup and say, is he still going to be the head coach by then? Because
it certainly crossed my mind. I mean, I don't think there's anything that can happen between now and July, but you don't know.
Doesn't seem like it. And I had read an article earlier this week that even Spurrier, anytime, it's kind of like we just discussed when the AD gives you the dreaded vote of confidence. Spurrier now, as much of a god as he kind of still is in Florida and in Gainesville, he kind of has had some questions, and, he was in the media being asked about the status of Billy Napier.
Ooh.
And to me, that's just not good.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, we hope
that Billy Napier makes it to Dallas.
Yeah. You don't want to have an interim head coach in media days. I think he'll be safe there, but you never know.
But if you were talking about hot seats, his would be one.
Very, very warm. And I'll be curious to see if any of the coaches wear any Buc-ee's merch. Big in Texas. Presumably the spread is going to feature maybe some brisket. A loaded baked potato brisket type situation.
I don't know how in Texas you could avoid brisket over one of the 4 days.
I feel like, maybe we get it all 4 days. And I mean, I don't necessarily know that's a bad thing.
Sign me up.
Nashville blew it out of the water, and I think because Nashville blew it out of the water so much, Dallas is really going to try and do it even more so this year. And so I think SEC Media Days 24, SEC MD 24 is going to be as fun as we've ever had.
Absolutely. Wade, as we wind things down here on the Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, you are headed to Geodis Park.
I'm going to brave what's hopefully not a Miami, an Inter-Miami home match. I'm hoping for a good NSC crowd. There's even some rumblings that Messi may be not going to play tonight, was a rumor. And if you pay top dollar for Messi and he doesn't play, But as an NSC supporter, I kind of hope he doesn't play. I hope Nashville comes out and hope they get a nice win. If they could get a win, any win would be great. But if they could get a 1-0 or 2-0 win and go into next week's match with a lot of momentum, man, that would be great. And that would go a long way toward removing some of the ill will that we've kind of got going on with this ticket situation.
Yeah, this ticket situation has gotten kind of ugly, hasn't it?
It's really a thing that's just picked up in the last, 72 hours. And so I'll give you guys some updates on social about the status of Geodis tonight. I'm preparing to see a lot of pink, but I hope I see a whole lot more blue and gold.
Looks like you're going to have pretty good weather. I mean, it's low 60s, high 50s.
We can deal with that.
Yeah. What is the thought? Messi doesn't play tonight, plays for the second leg in Miami?
I haven't dug deep on that. I'm just, the green chatter out there, maybe a small lingering issues, injury, so he might sit out tonight. Probably play next week. So that's why if he doesn't play for some reason, if he doesn't play tonight, Nashville has got to get a win. And again, getting a win with no goals given up would be huge, right? Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, he's going to be at the Otis. I'm probably going to go to the house and watch a little SEC women's basketball, and we will reconvene at 2 o'clock tomorrow here on Main Street Sports Today from the Lee Company studio here at Murphy Center. Brought to you by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, and we hope to see you all at 2 o'clock tomorrow.